This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. In the midst of his impending impeachment and possible removal from office, Donald Trump won't just cool it for even 5 minutes. Any rational person, when faced with serious political and legal consequences, the likes of which Donald Trump is currently facing, they would do just that. They would sit it out a few plays, if for no other reason than to make a clear-eyed assessment of the field of play, center themselves, and re-enter with strategy and resolve. That's not really how our historically dumb POTUS operates, though. In fact, he's doing the exact opposite. So much the opposite that Donald Trump just gave legitimate cause for there to be added charges to the reasons for which he should be impeached and removed from office. He is attempting to subvert the system by not only sideways threatening civil war if Congress exercises its duty and sole constitutional authority of his impeachment and removal, he is also threatening the arrest of members of Congress who are the tip of the spear of an impeachment inquiry investigation. This is not appropriate, not normal, not American. First, let's talk about this Civil War madness. On Sunday, evangelical nutterbutter and former soldier on the bloody front lines of the war on Christmas is now warning of a new war, a civil war. If Donald Trump is impeached and removed from office as outlined by our founders and authorized by our Constitution.
Impeachment is the only tool they have to get rid of Donald Trump, and the Democrats don't care if they burn down and destroy this nation in the process.
Pastor, the evangelical vote in this country is obviously a voting bloc that all candidates pay serious attention to. What do you think the reaction is of evangelical voters around the country to this news of impending potential impeachment?
Look, I don't pretend to speak for all evangelicals, but this week I have been traveling the country and I've literally spoken to thousands and thousands of evangelical Christians. I have never seen them more angry over any issue than this attempt to illegitimately remove this president from office, overturn the 2016 election, and negate the votes of millions of evangelicals in the process. And they know that the only impeachable offense President Trump has committed was beating Hillary Clinton in 2016. That's the unpardonable sin for which the Democrats will never forgive him. And I do want to make this prediction this morning. If the Democrats are successful in removing the president from office, I'm afraid it will cause a civil war-like fracture in this nation from which this country will never heal.
Well, Donald Trump liked this idea so much that he couldn't wait to tweet a thread of 4 tweets memorializing that entire un-American idea. Trump agreed, tweeting, "If the Democrats are successful in removing the president from office, which they will never be, it will cause a civil war-like fracture in this nation from which our country will never heal." Pastor Robert Jeffress at Fox News. This is a president of the United States broadcasting to the world that if the Congress uses the authority granted to them by the Constitution, he will have been on the record discussing civil war. Think about how divisive and disturbing that is. Donald Trump doesn't care about unity or healing of a fractured nation. He cares only about himself. And if that means advocating for civil war, he's going to do it. Of course, America-loving Democrats were outraged by this. That should go unsaid. There were even some Republicans, though, who were alarmed by this. Congressman and current Reserve Lieutenant Colonel Adam Kinzinger tweeted directly to Donald Trump. "I have visited nations ravaged by civil war, Donald Trump. I have never imagined such a quote to be repeated by a president. This is beyond repugnant." Although it's apparently not quite repugnant enough to signal his departure from the Republican Party, which after all is home to this repugnancy. However, good for Congressman Kinzinger. That's certainly not all, though. Donald Trump, acting in familiar dictatorial strongman fashion, also threatened Intelligence Committee Chairman, Congressman Adam Schiff, with arrest for the charge of treason. Like every American, I deserve to meet my accuser, especially when this accuser, the so-called whistleblower, represented a perfect conversation with the foreign leader in a totally inaccurate and fraudulent way. Then Schiff made up what I actually said by lying to Congress. His lies were made in perhaps the most blatant and sinister manner ever seen in the Great Chamber. He wrote down and read terrible things, then said it was from the mouth of the President of the United States. I want Schiff questioned at the highest level for fraud and treason. Not stopping there, he also tweeted, Rep. Adam Schiff illegally made up a fake and terrible statement, pretended it to be mine as the most important part of my call to the Ukrainian president, and read it aloud to Congress and the American people. It bore no relationship to what I said on the call, arrest for treason. Not only all of this, but Donald Trump is, as President of the United States, also engaging in targeted harassment of the whistleblower who went through all the proper channels to follow the law so that they could alert the appropriate authorities of conduct which has turned out to be criminal, un-American, and unbecoming a sitting president. Answering a question in the Oval Office yesterday, dipshit Donald outright admitted that he is trying to find out the identity of the whistleblower, who under law is entitled to protection.
Thank you very much, everybody. Well, we're trying to find out about a whistleblower. When you have a whistleblower that reports things that were incorrect, as you know, and you probably now have figured it out, the statement I made to the president of Ukraine, a good man, a nice man, was perfect. It was perfect. But the whistleblower reported a totally different statement, like the statement, it was not even made. I guess statement you could say with call. I made a call. The call was perfect. When the whistleblower reported it, he made it sound terrible.
So look, these behaviors only highlight the criminal tendencies that undergird Trump's very nature. It is time that Republicans, other than Congressman Kinzinger, start seeing the writing on the wall and stop doing what is right for the good of Donald Trump and start doing that which is right for the good of the Republic. No one is above the law, and the office of the President of the United States isn't a literal bully pulpit from which the most powerful leader in the world can suppress and intimidate. The office was designed ostensibly for a person looking out for the good of the people and the good of the nation. And one day I know we'll find ourselves there again, a time when we're led by someone worthy of that high office.